Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for the matches with our artifact-based deck. As a quick reminder of what we're looking at, we're basically a green-white deck that has splashed a Tinker and an Oko with a lot of artifact payoff. Drafted last night. Let's see if we can get either all or most of our matches into one video. Is this a mulligan? I'm not doing anything fast. I Yeah, this hand is significantly better. I don't think I want the wall. I think this is just turn 1 Hierarch into turn 2 Oko. Don't bolt my bird. Nice. Well, it's just Oko make food and then Tinker. God, that's sexy. Oh. Oh. So I think on my turn I play Forest and then Tinker to play Tinker around Daze. I don't want to play Plains because then I'll blow it up with a Sundering Titan. I could also not Tinker into open mana. Yeah, maybe I don't Tinker into this open mana. Do it at a point where it feels safer a little bit later on. Alright, so Petty Theft bounces my food token. That's fine. What's the sequencing for the turn? Attack for 6, or I can attack for 4. I think I attack for 4 and try to tinker this turn. Tinker around a Spell Pierce. Oh, we just did it. I thought I was gonna have to like play around something there. We had an extremely powerful start. So if my opponent's on a blue-red tempo strategy, what, if anything, do I want to do to adjust my strategy? The Kitchen Finks starts to look okay. The Thalia starts to look okay. When does this trigger again? I could see bringing in these 2 cards just to gum up the board more for things like Young Pyromancer or an Abbot of Carol Keep or whatever. I think I'm going to go down 1 artifact for a Kitchen Finks. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different sources of life gain available to me. That's pretty nice. But I don't really have much, if anything, in the way of removal. I can elk things, but no, like Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshare type cards here. Yeah, I think I want the Thalia to just help gum up the board. I wonder if I have time for a land tax. I'm gonna assume that a lot of my opponent's draws are going to be more aggressive than what they showed me that game. Well, with 1 more green source, this hand is pretty nuts. Or with 1 more mana source, generally speaking, I get to play powerful cards. Although, I might trip over myself a little bit. I think I keep this one. Alright, they have suspended a Lotus Bloom. Also, they are showing me a breeding pool now. Oh, yeah, this hand's gonna be good now that I have that channel. I don't know when I'm going to cast the channel, because if I wait one more turn, I can get Baneslayer and Lodestone Golem at the same time. And a pretty good boost. I don't think I want to do like channel memory jar shenanigans. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait one turn. That is not a pretty looking brainstorm. I don't think brainstorm is particularly good in cube. Like, you have to have a good number of fetch lands to truly support that well. And fetch lands are relatively high on pick order, at least in my book. Oh yeah, please tap out. Oh baby. Here we go! I think I call that good enough and I don't hemorrhage 5 more life or the memory jar. Maybe I'm not getting greedy enough here, but it seems like that's fine. I have a 2-turn clock with a lot of life gain, plus some amount of disruption, plus a man land as well. Okay, opponent is significantly more colors than I anticipated. Well, you could have just taken my Lodestone Golem. 3-3. 3-3. I tied. Maybe my opponent is far more combo oriented than I thought. I think I like kill Dak, spend my turn playing Memory Jar. Alright, what do you got as your last card? Interesting. Okay. Let's go. So I will want to starting to think about number of cards left in library for like brain freeze and natural mill win reasons. Uro is sort of interesting here. There can be a lot of life gain between my Baneslayer and that Uro and my Metamorph copying one of these creatures. That duel's pretty good. Now they can produce mana to get the Uro into play. Creature type on the sucker, giant. Still going. That's all fine. If this game comes down to mill, I kind of want to activate this here. But I don't want to randomly draw my opponent into Moxen or anything. I think I'm just going to let it go. My gut says 4 mana, Metamorph my Baneslayer, and play a Thalia. Then I have 7 power worth of first strike for my opponent's turn. I don't know that I'd even double block though. I can also just Elk their Uro. 3 mana, Elk, Uro, and then Metamorph my Baneslayer. That might put me in a better position, and it wouldn't give my opponent any more cards. Yeah, it cost me 2 life, but that shouldn't be a big deal. Well. Fuck. That's bad. I did not anticipate the Dak Faden coming back via Time Twister when I was planning out my turn cycles. I don't know that I come back from that even with all of these cards. Yeah, that is an awful tempo swing that is not in my direction. 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7, 8. The fact that a lot of the win conditions that I'm going to play are going to be artifacts is pretty rough here. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw in the towel here and respect my time. Got a better feel for what my opponent's deck is doing now. Let's see if I can adjust my sideboarding plan a little bit. The Revoker becomes more interesting for Dak. The Wall of Omens is less essential than I thought it was going to be. The Kitchen Finks is less essential than I thought it was going to be. I could just play Armageddon. Just get ahead on board in Armageddon, and my opponent probably doesn't come back from that a good portion of the time. They're very color intensive and have a lot going on. Yeah, I think I'm going to throw that in the deck. The Thalia and the Lodestone Golem are way better than I thought they were going to be. Like, I brought the Thalia in for completely different reasons. I don't think I get to pitch this hand. Hand can be a little awkward, though. I will just metamorph an Elvish Mystic on 2. I want to just guarantee that I can get the Lodestone Golem next turn. There. So the Lodestone Golem this turn means that the Dak Faden can't come down next turn, which is kind of a big deal. My opponent left the artifact Elvish Mystic, which could be for a number of different reasons. I would love to draw a white source and just Armageddon while I have 6 power in play. I mean, yep. Non-artifact spells cost 1 more, so I can't actually play that. No red source there is very good for me. Brainstorm there is probably very bad for my opponent. Brainstorm locking themselves at this stage of the game is probably GG. But they can just rip a red source in their Brainstorm and then like Chain Lightning my Lodestone Golem, and then they're actually probably ahead. All right, is Moto lagging? Or no, my opponent has conceded. Okay. Sideboarding for game 2 was really interesting in retrospect. I had a very wrong read about what sort of deck my opponent was on based on the cards that I saw. Seeing Young Pyromancer and Brazen Borrower made me think we were going to be facing some sort of like blue-red Delver style tempo strategy, when in reality we were playing against more of a storm strategy supplemented by some like generically good and powerful cards. So I boarded wrong in some ways, but oddly, the overlap of Thalia being good in both of those cases really worked out for me. Yes. I will be keeping this hand. So I think I'm starting with the elves because that gives me 1 mana for the rest of the game rather than starting with the wall that uses my mana more efficiently. I have 4 mana next turn. Oh, I don't have blue. That's okay. How am I playing this turn? I can go 3 mana, Metamorph, copy Pearl, then play Wall. That gives me 3 total artifacts for Forge Master once Forge Master is in play the following turn. I think I like that. A little aggressive. Like, I could drag this out a little more for value. What does that do? Nothing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's basically no difference between 7 and 5 mana other than I can just attack with this. I don't think I want to attack with that. Maybe my 2 life is more valuable. Yeah, let's assume my 2 life is more valuable. We're probably looking at blowing up 2+ of my opponent's lands next turn, unless I draw the Sundering Titan. Oh, opponent has no land drop. That's not great for them. What I sacrifice is pretty interesting here, but I think I'm just going to keep the large body. first. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Thundering Titan occurs. Blow up 2 of my opponent's lands. Send it. I don't get to cast white spells anymore, but I have a lot of power in play. I guess I can Oko my wall and attack with my wall, huh? That's a thing that can occur. Okay, we're playing against a ramp deck of some kind. Land tax is probably going to be pretty sexy. I'm going to go Wall of Omens out for Armageddon in. And call that good. I haven't seen a Revoker target yet, but like Revoker is an artifact for Tinker and Kodaltha Forge Master. And I can just name some big dumb payoff card with Revoker if I have to play it on turn 1 or 2. I think I really want a Mana Dork in my hand or a Mox on the game where I'm on the draw. Oh, okay. I think I just play the Ancient Tomb and jam Revoker on something. Do something like that. Alright, I would like Forest, Island, Forest. Am I just tinkering? I can tinker this turn after attacking for 2 points of damage. get rid of my Revoker, lose my island, then next turn follow it up with Lodestone. And then later follow that up with Baneslayer. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay. I'm just gonna treat this as thinning. We'll pick up plains, island, forest here, with the intention of just being fine with discarding some land. Opponent can still do something very large and broken even with the Lodestone Golem in play. I don't think this one is called in my favor yet. But I have a lot of power. The quality of my draws is also going to be very high this game. And we're just treating this as thinning. Gotta click 3. Well, that's good. That doesn't represent lethal this turn if I attack with a Mox. I don't think I want to do that. Let's just send it and see if my opponent is doing anything cool. If they're doing something cool, oh, yikes. Okay. Just have a different permanent type on the battlefield for some weird instance. Yeah, I think so. So my opponent has less mana than they had last turn, so I don't really know what they can do to come back from that. Yeah. So I felt like this deck was a little bit of a mess while I was drafting it, but in practice, this is working out really well. Maybe my Armageddon should be in the main deck, though. I keep boarding it in. Like, maybe that's just better than the memory jar. Yeah, can I adjust my deck? I wonder if this should be in the sideboard for grindier matchups, and if I should just have this as an alternate win condition. Because I'm getting ahead on board just very, very, very frequently. Um, could also like not have Wall of Omens, but I like things that buy time. All right. Hello. My name is Phil, and I would like to curve Noble Hierarch into Oko into Armageddon. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah, that is gonna be brutal. Less brutal now. Much less brutal now. Alright, maybe we're not Armageddoning immediately. Not a great draw. Alright, so we could just die immediately. I think I want to Sacro Tribe Elder over Elvish Mystic this turn. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Let's not worry about getting comboed off. Well, maybe I just elk the memory jar. And then Armageddon. Red source plus Kiki Jiki as like opponent's card in hand plus top deck is, or just top decking Splinter Twin is what would beat me. I could also just ramp towards casting the Sundering Titan. Like, both of these are just very strong right now. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I might actually be working towards casting this Sundering Titan. It'll blow up too many of my lands. Fuck, this turn's hard. Alright, let's not get comboed off. Man, I'm really glad my opponent cleared all of those cards off of the top of my library. Holy crap. Oh, that's strong. opponent got a lot out of that memory jar. Okay, hold up. Does that work with this having Shroud in the graveyard? Not actually 100% sure. I guess I'll find out next turn. If it works, my opponent will have an Inkwell Leviathan that I can't beat. Alright. Inkwell Leviathan. Target in graveyard. Shroud does not do anything in the graveyard. Alright. I guess I metamorph my own Leviathan. Next turn. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can also just like Goblin Welder, give them another 3/3. Hangerback Walker is also just pretty good. Yeah, maybe I just have to like stop that from getting in play in the first place. Yeah. Now am I just making a 3/3 for 4 mana to hold the board? That is a little disappointing. Three, four, five, six, seven. I could also just make like a Mox. And then I guarantee Sundering Titan, which is bigger than everything on board. No, I'll draw an land naturally. Okay, I don't copy that change. Alright. All in all, that was bad. I am rusty on my layers. It shouldn't be. Copy is the first letter. Copy control type. Yeah. Although this isn't really that bad at the end of the day because a 1/4 blocks one of these things well. I think the Oka's just going. I think that's just what's happening. Could have been a warm coil. Yeah, that hangerback walker does represent some problems, but I'm still surprisingly healthy. We'll see what my opponent's pace of play is with this hangerback walker. Like, does it just start crashing in now? It does. Alright, do you have counter spells? You haven't done anything in a few turns. Eh. I think if my opponent has another counter spell, I probably don't come back from here. This Sundering Titan is also a little bit costly for me, in that it costs me 2 of my own lands. Yeah, that's rough. I'm not gonna concede because I could top deck Wormcoil Engine or an artifact for Tinker or Wormcoil Engine. But I'm not in good shape. Kind of the good news, though, is that my opponent is beating me to death with Elks. They're not actually going to present all that much pressure in a normal game, it looks like. All right. So this is the turn where I have to double block. I don't know that I would have shown me that miscalculation there. Oh, good God. All right, deck. It's now or nothing. Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards. God, more counter spells! No! Fuck. Okay, so counterspell, mana leak, force of will, miscalc, cryptic command. I'm gonna have a lot to play around. So I'm not going to be the control deck here. I am going to be the aggro deck. That might mean I want to bring in these 2 cards. I do not want Wall of Omens in my deck. Goalless fetching a manland is eh. I don't know that I want to cut anything else. Like, the Goalless is whatever, but getting a hexproof land is totally fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna make that one change. Being on the play is going to be pretty huge, but my opponent does have Force of Will. I have no payoff here. Alright, how many payoff cards do I have to draw? I can count Tinker. So, Tinker, Oko, Lodestone, Baneslayer, Wormcoil, Thundering Titan, 6. But some of those I don't particularly want to draw. This is a hand where if I flood, I am just dead. But if I draw well, this hand is going to be very hard to beat. And I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. This is a hand with the amount of acceleration required to actually put me like well ahead of some of their counter magic. Okay. 3. Okay, I'm fine to get my attack in this turn. I don't think I sacrifice the Sakura Tribe Elder immediately, because I already have 6 mana next turn, and the difference between 6 and 7 is pretty negligible. I just want to be able to attack for 3 if I miss on a relevant land drop. Or sorry, a relevant card to play. That Tolarian Academy doesn't actually tap for mana, so I'm not playing into Miscalc here. With one more artifact, we have Forge Master active, but I think we're just attacking for 5 for 3.1 turns and killing our opponent. My opponent kept a little bit of a risky hand on 6, hoping that they would hit an artifact for Tolarian Academy or another land, and that didn't work out. Our top decks were somewhat cooperative. They weren't like the bombiest of bombs or anything, but it worked out fine. I think I'm just going to go ahead and run back the same plan. There's a world where I want to board in my memory jar so that I have something that can outdraw my opponents. I'm going to keep this hand. It becomes improved by any of the 3 elves or land tax or the mocks like a lot. And I just have Revoker as a turn 2 play for whatever mana rock they play onto. Didn't play a mana rock, unfortunately. I would love this to trade for any card so they can't draw off of library. Or Memory Jar? Maybe Memory Jar. Playing Forest before Savannah here for Sundering Titan reasons. Whenever I play, this turn gets played into a counter spell. I think I'm going to play the Oko, though. The Oko is a little bit harder on my mana. And there's worlds where like I draw my Mox next turn. Yeah. And then I can play Thran Dynamo and Blade Splicer in the same turn cycle, and I can't do that with any of my other cards. Eh. I'm going to try to stack up Thalia with Deceiver. Sorry, I'm going to try to stack up Thalia with Lodestone Golem and make it more difficult for my opponent to just combo off and kill me. But I'm getting buried by this library. I will absolutely attack my Thalia into your Solemn. We'll give you that card. Notably, Splinter Twin is 4 mana, so my opponent does have the 6 mana required to get through that. I wonder if my opponent's sequence strong there and misdrawing a card with Library. They could have like Force. No. Yes, they could have like a Force of Will though, and then it's not a mistake. Okay, cool. Maybe my opponent doesn't actually have the combo. Alright. So I can just play Forge Master here and commit more to the board. Happens to dodge both of those. Wait, hold on. I can't count. 4 mana. I think let's just go with the Splicer then. Alright. Opponent did not have the Force of Will. Okay, so opponent did just miss a drawing a card last turn. That's very good. Are they just hard casting like an Inkwell Leviathan? Oh god. Hold on, my opponent is destroying their Tolarian Academy? Is that correct? Why would you destroy your soul land, though? Yeah, I don't think I liked how my opponent played that one, but it was Burning of Xingyi, so they'll probably be fine. Yikes. Alright. Alright. Let's pull that deck back up. So we ended up with another 2-1 with this deck. This deck was better in practice than I expected it to be. During the draft portion, I was really unsure about my colors, and I don't think I pivoted into green until either pack 3 or late in pack 2, when I got 3 elves all in same pass through the packs. The green ended up being quite good. I don't have too much to say about this deck in terms of like strategy and whatnot. It was kind of straightforward. Like, asked or tried to cheat in something ahead of schedule and try to ride it to victory. Um, this is a relatively fair draft deck, in my opinion. Like, we have the unfair channel and tinker, but most of the times we were just a ramp deck, whether that meant like artifact mana or signets or ancient tomb or elves. And we just played powerful cards and hope that they worked out. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the games.